Welcome everybody. This is Statistics 201. I'm going to pass out a syllabus. You can follow along as we go through this. If there are any extras when they get to that end, you want to just pass them back. Okay, so I think I gave you the right syllabus. This should be section 130. This is a hybrid course. You can see the copy of the syllabus on the Blackboard Learn page. If you go under course documents and click here. So I will go through the syllabus, get you guys up to speed on what you can expect from this course, and what you can expect from me and what I expect from you. And then we'll talk a little bit about why you're maybe in this course, what's why is statistics important, and what you can do with it. So first off, my name is Dr. Merrill Lichty. I have a PhD in statistics from Duke University. I've been here at Drexel since 2003. And I guess this is my 15th year. Drexel's a great place. I like it here, and I want to make this a good experience for you guys. And so, come see me in my office hours, which are Tuesdays from 2 to 3 p.m. My office is over in G Hall, 835. If you can't make those office hours, send me an email, and we'll set up some other time to meet. The best way to get a hold of me is email. You can call my office phone, but good luck getting a hold of me. And if you leave a message there, almost guaranteed I'm not going to hear it. So send me email, but please make sure in the contact or in the subject line of the email that you say Stat 201, Section 130, or the one that meets at 10 o'clock. I teach the same class at noon. If you ever miss the 10 o'clock class and want to come to the 12 o'clock class, that's fine with me. I do exactly the same thing in both classes. But if you do send me an email, it saves me a lot of time if I'm wondering, is this Stat 601, Stat 632, Stat 201, Section 130, 131. Please identify that in the email, in the subject line if possible, and that will make things better for everybody. So this course is an introductory first course in business statistics. It's possible that you've had a statistics course in high school, maybe you took AP statistics, that sort of thing. We're going to assume that you haven't done that, so this is right from the very beginning. We're going to focus on applications of data analysis and statistics, and since this is in the business school, we're going to use examples from business and economics. But what you're getting is really the same statistics that your buddies are getting in biostatistics or any other sort of general statistics course. So same sort of thing, you can still talk to them, compare notes, and so forth. We're going to cover descriptive statistics and graphical statistics, probability. Probability is going to be a big part of the course, and then we'll look at statistical inference and A special case of that is something called simple regression. And simple regression is something that you are definitely going to need to know about when you get to your finance courses, your accounting courses, marketing courses, management. Everyone's using regression anymore, and so you're going to see it here, and hopefully it won't be too difficult, because you'll see it in the proper context and understand it for what it is. If you come in late and you need a syllabus, I've got extras down here. Pass that back towards the middle of the room. Okay, so statistics is important for lots of different reasons, and especially in business when you're trying to make decisions about processes and selling points and prices and all the different things that go into business. So I'll talk more about why statistics is important. We are going to use some statistical software. I wouldn't say it's statistical software. We're going to use Excel in this course, and Excel's, of course, the general spreadsheet software that Microsoft puts out. You should have it on your computer. If you don't, you can get it from the Drexel license, and talk to the LeBeau tech people about that if you have trouble getting that put on your computer. It's not really a statistical software package. It does do a lot of statistical functions, but we will use it to make calculations, and I'll help you understand how useful a computer can be for doing statistics. But at the same time, we are also going to, or rather you're going to be responsible to know what's going on in the background. In other words, there is going to be some number crunching and plugging things into your calculators, and you'll find that on the homeworks and quizzes, you probably want to use Excel because it's fast. It's somewhat easy once you figure out how to do it. However, on the exams, you're not going to be able to have access to Excel. So really, we're doing two different things here. We're going to learn the basics, what's going on behind the scenes, and then you're going to say, okay, here's the fast way to do it. And you really need to know how to do both of those things. Unfortunately, just the way computers are and the software that we have available, the exams will not be something that you can use Excel on. So if you ask me a question in class, I will show you how to do it both ways. I'll actually write it out. Here's the functions that you need to plug numbers into, and then we'll go to Excel and actually do it the quick way. If you have a calculator, you're going to need it. If you don't have one, you need to borrow one or buy one. Cell phones aren't going to work on the exams. But if you do have a calculator and you don't know how to use it, that's a good thing to come to my office hours and figure out. Because there's lots of different calculators out there, so I can't really in class pick one and show you how to do that one in class, and probably I don't know how to use your calculator, but if you come to my office hours, we can look it up and figure it out exactly what you need to do in order to use your calculator. The TI 84, 85, 92, all those calculators have built-in functions that will do almost everything that we're going to do in this course that Excel will do. So I encourage you to embrace the software, embrace your calculators, do it early instead of putting it off until right before the exam and then saying, wait a second, I can't use Excel on the exam, I don't know what I'm doing without Excel, how do I get my calculator to work? Do that early rather than right before the exam. Let's see, what else are we going to do? We're going to learn how to interpret data graphically and numerically, understand concepts of discrete and continuous probability distributions, and we're going to learn how to interpret and construct and analyze confidence intervals and do hypothesis testing. And then again, we'll look at simple linear regression, which is a tool that really is just a special case of confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. In fact, you'll find out that almost everything that you're going to do in your finance and marketing and accounting and management and other courses are going to be extensions of confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. So that's kind of what we're building towards in this class, and it's going to be important that you understand it. So that's kind of starts week 7, I guess, and everything we do builds up to that. So you want to make sure that you're up to speed and paying attention and ready for that when it comes around. So let's see, requirements for the course. You can't be in the course if you're a freshman, although I've seen freshmen before in this course, so there's got to be some way around that. There are some prerequisites, basic algebra, and the textbook is Applied Statistics in Business and Economics by Duane and Seward, 5th edition. There are several different options for getting this. You can go to the bookstore and buy it there, and if you do, there's a custom ISBN listed here. Make sure that you get the Connect, McGraw-Hill Connect access. If you don't want a hard copy or you don't want to pay bookstore prices for the hard copy, you can get an electronic version, and then there's an option of purchasing a loose leaf copy of the book, and they'll send it to you in the mail. But either way you do it, make sure you get the access code. The access code should come with the ebook, so that's the most cost-effective way to do this. If you're going to take Stat 202, then there's a good chance that you won't need to buy the access code again or the book again. The access code is good, I think, for something like 500 days or something like that, like a year and a half. And so when you take Stat 202, a lot of the professors in the department teach with the same book, so you should be able to use your access for that, which is nice. Okay, so since this is a hybrid course, what I'm expecting from you guys is to look at the material outside of class before you come to class, and there are 2 ways to do that. One is by looking at the videos that I have here in Blackboard. And so if you go to week 1, you'll see, for example, this video here. I will show these other 3 videos today in class, so don't worry about watching those in advance. But typically you come to class beforehand having watched these videos. And so week 2, for example, has several videos in here. Some are short, some are long. You can watch them in double speed if you want. I know I talk kind of slow, especially in these videos, so if it's starting to drag and you're just like, well, this is boring, then just speed it up until you get to a part that you get stuck on, then slow it down if you if you have trouble with that. So watch the videos, read the book, and there's something in McGraw-Hill called Learn Smart. If you come over here to the assignments, you'll see there's a folder for Learn Smart, and if you click on this, Chapter 1, okay, well, I guess it won't show me what you guys see, but do these Learn Smart assignments, and they will kind of guide you. This is what you need to know. It's algorithmic. It keeps track of the questions you've answered wrong, questions you've answered right, and by the time you get done with it, you should have a good understanding of what it is the chapter is about. And so in the past, I have given extra credit if you do the Learn Smarts, like less than 1% on your final grade, which is basically enough to, if you're right on the border, to bump you up half a grade. It's not going to take you from a C to an A. but it might take you from a B plus to an A minus, that sort of thing. So you want to think about doing those. They're not required, but you probably want to do them. So then attend the lecture. In lecture, we're going to review the most critical parts of the videos in the book that you've read. We're not going to cover everything in lecture. We're going to look at homework problems and answer questions. So if you have questions about anything that you've seen in the videos or read in the book, or the Learn Smart, or the homework, or the quizzes, come to class prepared to ask, and we'll go over those things. And then we'll also cover other interesting things that maybe are not in the textbook, or applications of statistics. There's homework that's due every week almost, and so you need to make sure you get that done. And then there's a weekly quiz, and I'll talk a little bit more about those. And then there are 2 exams. Midterm exam is February 13th, and that's going to be in class. Actually, not in this classroom. It will be in a computer lab, probably over in G Hall somewhere, maybe in this building. But and then the final exam will be whenever it's determined by the university. If you're planning to go on spring break and miss the last half of finals week, I wish you a good trip, but don't take my class, because I'm not going to give you the exam early. So you're at the mercy of when the university schedules the final exam, and you've got to be there to take it according to the university policy. So if you're thinking about that, you've got tickets on Expedia that you're going to buy to go to Florida, I would wait a few weeks until the university says when our exam's going to be, because that's going to be the only opportunity to take it. Okay, so all homework and quizzes are going to be conducted online outside of class using Connect. And the way that you get into Connect for the first time is once you have your code, or even if you don't have your code, if you come to Homeworks, click on Homework, and then click on any one of these homeworks, it will take you to a page that doesn't look like this. This is what it takes me to, but yours will take you to a page that says put in your access code, or you can purchase access right there as well. So if you don't have the access code, you can still go there. You can get I think there's a 14-day trial or 17-day trial. If you're not sure you want to stay in the class, that sort of thing. But you can either buy access and get the ebook, or just put in your access code. And homeworks are going to be due on Thursdays, the week listed here on the syllabus, at midnight, 11:59, I guess. All right, so homework number 1 is going to be due not this Thursday, but a week from Thursday. So you have, we're covering this material for homework number 1 in class this week. You have next Tuesday, when we meet, to ask questions about it. You make sure you turn the homework in by Thursday, and then the quizzes are due at midnight on Friday of the week listed. So Thursday, homework number 1 is due. That's next Thursday, or Thursday of next week. And then quiz 1 is due by midnight. I think, let's see, we have 3 days to do the quizzes. They become available on Wednesday at 12:01 a.m. and you have until midnight, basically, or 11:59 on Fridays. And homeworks, you have at least a week, usually longer, before the due date to do those. Homeworks and quizzes are open book, open note. Details for the midterm and final will be given near the exam date, but I will tell you now that they will be also conducted inside of Connect, and they'll be done in a computer lab using Lockdown browser and So, you know, you're not going to be able to have access to anything other than your calculator, and I'll probably let you do some your own formula sheet, and you know, do it in class. Okay, so late policy, there will be no makeups, extensions, or late acceptance of any assignment except homeworks. So with the homeworks, I don't care when you turn them in, but if you turn them in after the due date, there's a 1% penalty per day. So if you wait a week, the highest you can get is 93%. If you wait 2 weeks, the highest you can get is 86%, and so forth. And that's fine with me. You don't have to tell me you're going to turn them in late. You don't have to explain anything to me about that. Just, you know, do whatever you need to do. Let's see, what else about homeworks? Oh yeah, you can do them as many times as you want. So you do it the first time, and you don't get the score you want, no big deal. Go back and do it again. Find out the questions that you missed. Find out how to solve them. The solutions and feedback are available as soon as you submit the homework, so you should be able to go back and redo that and get whatever score you want. Just you know, be careful about doing that after the due date, because there's the 1% penalty per day. And I mean, I guess I take your highest homework score, so it shouldn't be a problem. But just take that late penalty into account. Your quizzes, on the other hand, you get one shot at, and there's a time limit. I think I don't remember how long it is. You'll have to just double check that before you start the quizzes. I will drop your 2 lowest quiz scores, and I'm going to do that because I don't want to hear about why you missed or had problems with your quizzes. So if people start asking me about, you know, I'm going to be out of town, I can't do the quiz because I'm going somewhere where there's no internet access, then I won't drop your quizzes. Okay, so just if you have problems, I'm very sympathetic to your problems and your plights and your everything that you got going in your lives, but that's why I'm dropping 2 quizzes. So instead of 7, there's going to be 5 quiz scores that go into your grade, and so you know, don't worry about telling me details as to why you miss them, or ask me to drop, or tell me that you need the 2 lowest quiz scores dropped or whatever. That's going to be done regardless. And you'll notice that there is the last week, week 10, if you look back over here, there's no quiz this week, so there's only 7 quizzes, and we're going to keep the 5 highest scores. Let's see. Alright, so I think I say here, let me just reiterate this, that when you come to class, oh, it says Monday, that's a typo, that should be Tuesday. When you come to class on Tuesday, I will have expected you to watch the videos, read the book, done the Learn Smart, and ready to discuss material. Week 1, we're going to talk about you know, chapters 1 and 2, just data collection and kind of the big picture statistics. Next week we're going to talk about visual statistics, or looking at graphs and charts, and descriptive statistics. Week 3 is probability. Oh, sorry, I got another typo here. Forget that. I'll have to update this. Take your pen out and cross that out. We do meet next week. So I guess I didn't look through this close enough. So probability is very important and not always the easiest topic in the world. In fact, none of this stuff is really that easy. So if you're going to get yourself into trouble, please come and see me early. There's tutoring available. There's all sorts of resources that you have, and and I want to make sure that you have the opportunities to succeed in this class, and you can do it, even though it might not be easy. So let's see. All right, so I guess we can move on. Okay, so after we talk about probability, we're going to deal with discrete random variables, and then continuous random variables will be chapter 7. All the material, chapters 1 through 6, will be on the midterm exam, so chapter 7 will go on the final exam, and chapter 8 is all about the sampling distribution for the mean and confidence intervals, and then we'll continue in chapter 9 with hypothesis testing, and that's kind of a big thing, so that's going to go into week 9, and then we'll get into simple regression weeks 9 and 10. Okay, so here's how your grade's going to be broken down. Homework will be 20%. Quizzes will be 20%. Your midterm exam will be either 25% or 0%. And your final exam will be either 35% or 60%. And my thinking on this is that this class is maybe not the easiest class there is. In fact, I'll tell you right now, it's not the easiest class at Drexel. It's one of the harder classes at Drexel. Material might be foreign to you, and you know, anytime you're faced with new things, there's a struggle and challenge. But let me ask, is anybody here not able to ride a bicycle? Everyone can ride a bicycle, or you're too embarrassed to raise your hand. When you learned how to ride a bicycle, was it easy? Did you fall down and get hurt? Scrape your knee? Did you have to have training wheels maybe for a while, depending on how you... I mean, now it's easy because they have these gyroscope wheels they put on the front. They're a couple $100, but you can teach a kid how to ride in like 20 minutes with it. You guys seen that? No, you don't have kids yet. But when you have kids and you're frustrated trying to teach them how to ride a bike, look at these gyroscopic wheels that you can put on the front. They might make the bike almost stand up just with nobody on it and barely moving. But it was painful and difficult, and you probably thought at some point, I can never do this. I'm never going to be able to do this. And then what happened? You stuck with it, and maybe you got beat up a little bit, and you got hurt, but then you got to where you could ride a bike. And now you ask the question to yourself, is it difficult to ride a bike? So I'll ask you guys, is it difficult to ride a bike? No, you can all do it? Okay, so this course is going to be kind of like that. Might be bumpy road for a little while, but if you stick with it, keep working, you know, endure the pain that you're going through, I want to reward you for that. So if the midterm exam doesn't turn out to be a good thing for you, but you stick with it and everything kind of clicks at the end, we'll just throw out the midterm exam. So I will calculate your grade in 2 different ways according to these 2 formulas. One has 35% on the final and 25% on the midterm. The other has 0 on the midterm and 60% on the final. And whichever of those is higher, I will give for your final grade. And unfortunately, we can't go the other way. And inevitably, some of you will think, oh, I did really well on the final exam. Can I just have that replace... Sorry, I did really well on the midterm exam. Can I have the midterm replace the final? And the answer is no. That won't happen. So don't ask. So you don't have to tell me which of these grades you want. I will calculate both of them for everybody, and whichever one's higher you will get. We've got the standard grade assignments. 90 to 94 is an A-, 94 or above is an A, and so forth. At my discretion, these cutoffs may change slightly, and and there may be a curve. I guess technically we could change them the other way if needed, but in this class it doesn't really happen that often that I need to change the grades, apply a negative curve, you might call it. So probably there will be a curve on the final grade, and so I think that pretty much covers everything that I want to talk about. There's a whole list on the back of additional things you should look at, and just push it really hard.
It's not locked.
No. There you go. So check all that stuff out if you like, and so are there any questions you guys have? No? All right, we covered it all. Good. So one other thing I should tell you, if you miss class, do you think I care? I mean, I care a lot about you guys, I really do. But if you have to miss class for some reason, traffic is bad, there's weather, I want you guys to be safe and not have to worry about getting into class just so you can be here. I mean, I want you to be here, right? Because this is a good place to learn and ask questions, and the more interaction you have with other people and talking about statistics, the better learning experience is going to be for you. But if you can't make it to class for some reason, you don't have to send me email and tell me. You're welcome to. I love reading those emails, but don't feel like you have to. But under the weekly folder at the bottom, you will see resources for what we have done in class. These will include possibly PowerPoint slides that I write on, some notes, Excel files that we use in class. We're going to collect data in class, so that stuff will be posted here, along with the podcast of class. So whatever noise goes on in this room and whatever happens on this computer will be recorded, and I'm not going to edit it or anything. I'm just going to dump it straight on to Blackboard. So if you miss class, no big deal. Just come back and watch the podcast. In fact, you can watch it in double speed if you want. So you can watch, 2 hours of boring statistics in an hour. It's only 1 hour of boring statistics. Actually, it's not going to be boring. It's going to be fascinating. With the exception of whenever I play a video, I won't record that because that makes the file too big. So I'll push pause on the video, and you'll have to go and watch these videos on your own. So I do that every class. Sometimes there are technical difficulties that I run into, and the recording doesn't work. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'm not going to post it. If the 12 o'clock class is successful that day and the 10 o'clock class, this class, has problems, then I'll just post the 12 o'clock. So you won't get exactly what we did in class, but it should be close enough. Okay? So questions about anything else? That or anything else? No? All right. Okay, so I have some questions for you guys. You got to know a little bit about me. Well, I should probably tell you a little bit more about me. I told you where I did my PhD, and so I, majored in math as an undergrad, and then I did PhD in statistics, and I like chainsaws and most power tools. I guess I like all power tools, especially chainsaws, and I've got a really cool chainsaw. You should see it. It's like, anyway, so I cut my own wood for, I'm thinking about this right now because I've got a whole stack of firewood outside my house that is dwindling too fast, so I'm going to have to cut some more. But I like sports. I like playing sports more than watching, but I like watching too. Kayaking, skiing, frisbees, rollerblades, just all sorts of stuff. Bikes, I really like bikes. I just got into kite surfing. That's pretty cool. Got a couple of kites and anyway, so that's me, and I want to get to know you guys a little bit. So I'm going to ask you some questions here, and we're going to do this. You should plan on bringing some sort of device to class, cell phone or computer, and I'm going to ask you questions, and we'll actually collect data and use the data to look at some of the things that we might possibly want to do. So the first question I want to ask you is, what's your name? All right, so Jake, Bethany. Now, I used to give extra credit for coming to class and answering these questions. That's why I have the name question here, because I need to be able to link your responses up to your device. So, so what kind of variable is this? We're going to call, we may as well start thinking about statistics, right? Is this a variable that I'm asking for here? Well, what is a variable? Something that is different for every individual, potentially. It could be the same. It could be, look, there's 2 Alexes. Unless 3 Alexes. All right, raise your hand if your name's Alex. All right, we got 3 Alexes. Is that coincidental? I guess, yeah. So we'll talk about coincidences a little bit when we talk about probability in chapter 5. We've got a really fun example that we'll look at that will really get you thinking about this sort of thing. But and there's an Alexi. Raise your hand. Come on. All right. Any other Alexis or Alexa or Alexanders? No? Okay. So what kind of variable is this? We had to classify it. Is it numeric? No. Well, it could be. I mean, you could have some sort of numerical code that says Aaron. E is the 5th letter, R is the 18th letter, I is the 9th letter, and N is the 14th letter. So you could add all those up and get some number. So we could translate it into numeric if we wanted, but this is what we call not quantitative, it's qualitative, right? Is there any sort of ordering? Does order matter here? So that's the next question you say. Is it qualitative or is it quantitative? You said it's qualitative. Well, there's an alphabetical order. We could put these things in alphabetical order if we wanted to. So if we did that, we would have what's called an ordinal data set or an ordinal variable. So does the order matter? Is A better than B? Well, in terms of alphabetical, it comes first in the alphabet. So if you're doing things alphabetically, A gets to go first. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. If you're being put in front of a firing line, then I don't want to have A as my name. I don't want to go alphabetical. What other types of quantitative or qualitative variables are there? If order doesn't matter. Nominal, okay. So nominal says order doesn't matter. Ordinal says order does matter, but there's no real difference between, or no quantifiable difference between A and B. You can say, oh yeah, they're 1 letter apart, but what does that mean? I don't know. There's no numbers really that go into that. Okay, so let's look at the next question then. So what's your major? And again, think about what what type of variable is this? Everybody's got a different, potentially different major, right? You got finance. I guess next one's going to be finance, no? Marketing. EET, is that something with electronic engineering and technology? Okay. Okay, so why am I asking these questions, and why, what am I hoping to gain by looking at this type of data, this particular variable? Okay, so I want to know why you're taking this class. I want to know what types of things you're interested in. So maybe I can, customize the class a little bit. I'm probably not going to do that, but I could. Okay, so this is raw data we're looking at here. Has everybody had a chance to answer? This is just kind of the thumbnail version. So I can come over here and look at the response history. And we have 62 responses. And here's the data. So this is raw data. What do we hope to glean from raw data? If you're looking at raw data. Well, if it's a big data set, I mean, there's almost nothing you can get out of it. Okay, we want to find patterns, but in order to find patterns, what do we have to do with the raw data? First, we have to collect it, and then what? Okay, then we have to organize it, and that's a big part of doing this. Computers are built for that reason, so you don't want to be doing this stuff by hand. Did you have a comment?
But I feel it's nearly impossible to do this full data like that. If you're collecting like number data, like the pressure, so if collecting all the data in number, that's pressure.
Okay. So how could I organize this data? Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just simply give it to me alphabetically. So somebody put quotes on their software engineering, so that pulled it to the front. We've got accounting, biomedical engineering. Computer science is together, culinary science, economics. So we'd have to go through and standardize the inputs, that sort of thing. I didn't ask you any particular way to do this, so this is fine. But this gives me a good idea, and I could look at this and say, well, there's a bunch that are sports management. There's a few software engineers. Looks like music industry is pretty well represented here. Marketing, legal studies, general business, finance. So it looks like marketing, finance, music industry, those are kind of the three that are most prevalent. But I could further take this data and just come up with what's called a frequency count, or a bar chart or frequency distribution, and say, how many did we have? What proportion of everybody in the class is in each of these categories? That's one way to look at this, and I'm not going to do that because just in the interest of time, but I will pull out some other data that we collect using Pull Everywhere. Okay, so business analytics, civil engineering, marketing. Okay, so I look at this and I get a good idea then of the makeup of the class. I don't understand everything about you guys, but statistics is about doing what? Extracting information. Okay, so am I going to get all of the information just by looking at a data set? No. But there's some information in there, and I want to know everything I can about the population, about the individuals, and that allows me to do what? To make informed decisions. And that's really what statistics is about. collecting data, organizing data, summarizing the data, and then using that information that comes out of those things to make informed decisions. Okay, so think about that as kind of a big, I don't know if it's the big picture, but it's one of the ways to think about what we're doing in this class. Okay, so another question then. Okay, so we had have a freshman. Had a freshman. Do we have a freshman? If you want to raise your hand, you can. You don't have to if you don't want to. Every now and then there's a freshman in this class, which is fine. Okay, so what kind of chart am I looking at here? This has a special name. This is called a horizontal bar chart. Horizontal bar charts are actually a little bit more difficult for humans to process than vertical bar charts. I don't know why they don't do vertical bar charts here or give you that option, but this is a bar chart, and what we have here are the relative frequencies. So they're not even telling us what the percentage is. We've got 43%, 18%, 16%, and 11%. Those are the relative frequencies. Those are not the frequencies. The frequencies would be just the counts, how many seniors are there, and so forth. So this is a bar chart. This goes along with what type of data? What are we looking at here again? Same as what we were looking at earlier. This is qualitative data, and we'll say this is ordinal, because there is some difference between freshman, sophomore, pre-junior, senior, junior, and senior. All right, you can put those in order, and there's some measure that goes along with that. You know, years that you've been on campus, or credit hours, or however you want to define it. But the difference between a freshman and a sophomore is not necessarily the same as the difference between a sophomore and a pre-junior. Although, again, that kind of depends on how you define things. So I would say this is ordinal data. And the last question we asked about the majors, that would be nominal data. There's no real ordering that makes sense that people are going to all agree about. Okay, so let's ask you another question. Now, I want you to understand that I really am a nice guy, and I'm very sympathetic, and if you want to come to my office and talk to me, I welcome that. I've got office hours. I'm available at other times. Please come and see me, but I just want to make sure you're clear that the answer to this question is 0. Sympathy points don't do you any good in this class. So start today, this week, right now, working on homework, working on understanding material. Do not put it off. If you put it off and then come and say, and believe me, I've heard it all. I haven't heard it all, but I've heard a lot. People come and say, hey, look, my parents are going to disinherit me if I don't get an A in this class. And I say, well, you should have worked on, the last 10 weeks. You should have been keeping that in mind, because that's your problem, not mine. All right, I don't have any control over what your parents do or don't do. If you're going to lose your scholarship, if you don't get an A in this class, guess what? You better get an A in this class, but I'm not going to give you an A. You're going to earn it. So start working now. Work hard, put the time in, and you'll get it. All right, so looks like almost everybody got this person, whoever you were that said 10. You understand the real answer now, right? Okay, good. Like I said, I'm totally sympathetic, but that's not going to happen, I promise. All right, one last question then. Why don't you answer this question, then we'll take a 10-minute break, start back up at 11 o'clock. So as soon as you put your answer in, you can do whatever you need to. Use the bathroom, get a drink of water, so forth. So I asked you guys, why are you taking this class? And one of the things you'll learn about, maybe you've already learned it, but learn about doing analysis and trying to understand complicated things is the approach to dig deeper by asking why. So you're being forced to. Why are you being forced to? The answer to that question might be the same as the answer to, I really want to learn about numbers. You might say, why do you really want to learn about numbers? Or you might also say, the Google guy at, what's his name, Hal Varian. He's like the chief statistical officer or something like that at Google. He used to be anyway. This is maybe he's moved on and made too much money and decided to stop working. But a while back he said that statistics is going to be the sexy job of the future. You might say, why? So why to all of these questions? Why? Why are you being forced to do this? Why do you want to learn about numbers? Why is statistics going to be the sexy job of the future? I won't tell you any of the statistics jokes about well, actually, maybe I should. No, I'll save those for later. Why are you being forced to do this? I mean, I know why, and I'll tell you if nobody ventures any opinions or guesses. So nobody has any idea why you're being forced to do this?
Because if we don't do so, we can't graduate.
Okay, so if you don't take the course, you won't graduate. All right, is that does that really explain why you have to take it? I mean, yeah, that's true, but you could ask the question again: why? Why do you have to have this course to graduate?
For most decision making, if you're doing it properly, you'll probably look at different sets of data.
Okay.
And inform decisions.
And why is that important? I mean, you're exactly right. This is about making decisions. You're going to take finance and accounting and all these other courses where you're going to be making decisions based on numbers. And why is that important?
So you can do your job properly.
Okay, and why do you want to do your job properly? So you can make money. Okay, why do you want to make money? So you can eat, right? So you can have a place to live. So you can have a family to feed. And I mean, why you're being forced to do this really gets down to the very essence of life anymore. And I'll show you a video or two that hopefully will explain that even more. Okay, so it's about making decisions. It's about understanding what's going on. And so I'm going to show you some videos here, and some of them are entertaining. Okay, so what do you guys think of that? What can you learn from that short, humorous revision of Star Wars Episode 4 that might have something to do with this class while you're here and what you're expecting to learn? No ideas? Yeah.
You don't consider statistics or data, you don't always make proper decisions.
Okay, so it's about decision making, right? So what kind of tools are you going to get in this class, do you think? Here, go ahead.
I was going to say it's like the probability of them being found. Probability.
Okay. All right, so probability is going to be a big part of making decisions, and understanding probability is going to, in the real movie, they just kind of sat around and said, oh, what's the chance they're going to get this lucky torpedo shot? Well, if I was part of the Empire, I would have probably analyzed the data that, you've seen Rogue One, right? The new movie where they got the plans and all that. Well, if they've got the plans, I should be looking at the plans too and understanding what part of the, where we're vulnerable, that sort of thing. And then if there's an exhaust port, why don't we just set like a big old space cruiser or something on top of the exhaust port so the torpedo can't go down there? I don't know. But they didn't do that. So in how it should have ended, what did they do? They had this tool, the ultimate power in the universe, which is a metaphor for statistics, right? That's what you're here. You're going to get this toolbox that allows you to go out and say, okay, here's the data. I'm going to look at the data. I'm going to make my decisions based on the data. I'm going to use the tool according to how it was designed and built. And so, in how it should have ended, that's what they did. They said, oh, we got this planet in front of us, blocking the moon on the far side. Our tool destroys planets. What are we sitting around waiting for? Let's just take out the planet. Okay, so you're going to get these tools, but it's not just the tools that you're going to get from this class, but you're going to get the how to use the tools and how to think in a way that will allow you to make the best decisions, make the best path. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that we're going to take out probability and uncertainty, and that doesn't mean you're always going to get it right, because there is always uncertainty. But a big part of what we're doing in this class is identifying the information that's there, identifying the variability or the randomness that's there as well, and taking that into account. Okay? So that's one thing you're getting from this class. The tools and the school of thought, or the way to think about these things correctly. All right, here's something else you're going to get.
Our company has a new strategic initiative.
Hold on.
Our company has a new strategic initiative to increase market penetration, maximize brand loyalty, and enhance intangible assets. In pursuit of these objectives, we've started a new project for which we require 7 red lines. I understand your company can help us in this matter.
Of course. Walter here will be the project manager. Walter, we can do this, can't we?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so what do you guys think of that? Oh, come on, it was funny, wasn't it? It was hilarious. What was the problem these guys were having? It's like they were speaking different languages, weren't they? Right, you got the expert who says, perpendicular lines and blah, blah, blah. And you got management saying, market research tells us this, that, or the other, and this is what we want. But there's no real interface because they don't speak the same language. So what do you think you're going to learn in this class? You're going to learn the language. Well, I wouldn't say you'll learn the language, but you'll be exposed to, and it's kind of like an introductory, rudimentary exposure to the language of statistics. And anymore, that's how numbers and ideas and decision making is done in business. You got the guys in the back who are the quants that do this stuff all day. For them, it's like, if I give me a fast computer and 8 hours of uninterrupted time, I can play with this data all day long and come up with all sorts of parameter estimates and so on and so forth. And they're going to give that to management, and you guys probably will be in the role of management, and management's going to make decisions based on that. Well, you've got to be able to communicate. You've got to be able to understand what's being said, and with the without having that, then you spend a lot of time spinning your wheels and getting nowhere. And I mean, what was the end result here? What are they going to do? 4 lines, 2 red, 2 green, or 4 visible lines that are all perpendicular to each other. Well, he explained that that's not possible. You can't do that, at least in 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions. If you go to 5 dimensions, I guess you can do it, but then you can't see in 5 dimensions what's going on. And then that's the transparent line. So are they going to get what they want? They don't even know what they want, right? So the language, the interaction, the communication is all done in a certain way. And you're going to learn about that in this class. You're going to learn about hypotheses, and you're going to learn about rejection of hypotheses and what that means. And you're going to be able to say, at a certain level of significance, we have this decision. And you're going to understand the implications of making that decision and the possibilities of making errors when you do that. Okay, so we said you're going to get the language, you're going to get the tools and the knowledge of how to use the tools. But how did we even get to this state that we're in right now, where all of a sudden, well, they used to measure intelligence by whether you can read or not. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but now they've trained monkeys to read. And they're pretty sure monkeys aren't intelligent. They're not like dolphins or humans. So now the measure is if you understand numbers, what numbers tell you. That's the sign of intelligence. And you might say, well, how do we get to that point? Well, here's a glimpse. This was from 2017, but here's a glimpse of why and how we're in that state. Let me turn this up. Okay, so how does that make you feel? What insights did you gain from that video that wasn't funny? The future seems scary, okay? I agree with that, except for I'll add one caveat. It seems scary to people who don't understand statistics. Okay, so you're here to learn about data and how to, I mean, this is just the very, very tip of the iceberg, but you're going to learn about how to collect data, analyze data, extract information. I mean, what they said in 2017, 16 zettabytes. That's 16 with 21 zeros behind it of unique information were generated. And they say that's exponential. I don't know how long it's going to keep going, but 2018 is going to be even bigger. That's huge amounts of data. I mean, your hard drive on your computer probably is 1 or 2 terabytes, and that's what 10 to the what's a terabyte? 10 to the 12. I think it's 10 to the 12. So you got 9 million of those, or 16 million of those that are full. They're unique information. So there's tons of data out there. There's tons of information out there. And a big part of what you got to learn is how to wade through it, how to sort through it, how to find the stuff that's relevant to you and the decisions that you're going to make in your own life. And I'm not talking just about business decisions. I'm talking about other decisions in your personal life. So there's no shortage of data out there. The U.S. government has, a few years ago, they built a giant repository. I think it's out in Utah, that is supposed to hold all of the data that's generated in the next 100 years. And I don't, probably it will fall short of that because they underestimated how much data is going to be generated. But they don't even know what to do with the data yet. So we're kind of right on the edge of this explosion, and people still really don't know what to do with it. But rest assured, you're going to need to know the language, you're going to need to know the tools, and you're going to need to know how to think about these things. So that's what you're going to get from this class. Did you guys have any questions for me? If not, then I will see you guys next week.